So we added the backdrop, we added the logic to get rid of the side drawer. The next step is to implement this toggle button here. So to implement some component which allows us to click on and which will then trigger something which shows the side drawer. Now this is a good exercise for you. It of course involves a couple of steps, and there certainly is more than one way of achieving this, but feel free to try this on your own. Either by not creating a component and simply hooking up this div with a click listener to take an easier route, or outsource this into its own component, maybe create a hamburger icon there, make it clickable, and in the end make sure that you somehow get to the layout component and adjust the state to set show side drawer to true. Set it to false initially here then, and make sure that you now can somehow click something in the toolbar, set the state here as I just said, and therefore change the open property of the side drawer because it's dependent on the show side drawer state. Now this is a good practice. I'll give you a couple of seconds to pause the video and try this on your own, and then I'll show you my approach. So, were you successful? Let's now solve it together, but I really urge you to try it on your own first. We want to make sure that we can click this menu button in the toolbar. And I want to outsource menu into its own component, which I want to also style as a hamburger icon. I'll place this component in the side drawer folder because it belongs to the side drawer, and I will name it drawer toggle. In there, I'll add a drawer toggle.js file. This will be a simple component, as most of our components are, a function which receives props and returns some JSX. And for that, of course, we need to import React from React. Then I'll export this as a default, so export drawer toggle as a default. And for now, I'll simply add the div with the text menu here, but I will change this, as I just said. I will change this to a hamburger icon in the future. For now, let's use that though. So make sure to save that drawer toggle file and then move to the toolbar file and import it. Import drawer toggle imported from the side drawer folder, from the drawer toggle folder and the drawer toggle.js file. And replace this placeholder here with the self-closing drawer toggle component. Now the goal is to add a click listener to the div here. So I'll add onClick. And I then want to bind this to some property which I expect to receive, the clicked property, which should, as always in this case, hold a reference to the method which should get executed on a click. So now in the toolbar component, let's add that clicked property to the drawer toggle. And there, of course, we also don't have that method defined in here. But we will use the toolbar in the layout component where we will add this method. So ultimately, we'll set some property on the toolbar and pass down the method reference from there. So let's expect this property to be set in the toolbar, and I'll name it drawer toggle clicked. This will be a prop I'll receive which holds a reference to the method which should get executed. So drawer toggle clicked. With that, let's go to the layout component, and there I'll add the side drawer toggle handler. Now, it actually will work as a toggle, so from open to close and the other way around. But in our app, we will never be able to see that close functionality because the side drawer will overlap it. I'm still going to create it in this way because if we ever were to add this toggle in some other place in the app, it would really work as a toggle. Now anyways, here I now, as I just said, want to toggle the displaying state of the side drawer. So we can call this state and now set show side drawer to what it's currently not, to not this state show side drawer. So if show side drawer is true, it will now be set to false and the other way around. This approach here has a flaw though. Do you see which? I mentioned earlier that if you plan on using the state in setState, you shouldn't do it like this because due to the asynchronous nature of setState, this may lead to unexpected outcomes. So instead use the function form. expect the previous state as an input, and in there, simply return the object you want to set as a new state, or you want to merge into the state, I should say. And of course, therefore, in there you don't access this state, but you use the previous state you get passed into this function automatically. This is the clean way of setting the state when it depends on the old state. Now we have a secure way of toggling that and changing show side drawer. Now, of course, we want to call this, and we should pass it as a reference to the toolbar now, because in the toolbar, we're expecting this drawer toggle clicked property, which holds a reference to the method which should get executed when the toggle is clicked. So let's use that in the layout component here on the toolbar. Drawer toggle clicked was the property name. And let's pass a reference to the newly created side drawer toggle handler. And as always, never execute this method, just pass a reference. Make sure to save all files now. Let's go back to the application and let's click Menu. And indeed, it slides in. Backdrop removes it, and we can go back and forth. So this is working, that's pretty cool. Let's now turn this boring, not so pretty menu text here into a hamburger icon in the next lecture.